we are going to start at the edge of human knowledge. So this is the idea of start with science. And what Ian and I do when we go into companies is we bring in a series of sciences. So there's a series of sciences around story. There's a science around activism, psychology around Disney rides. There's even a science of cool that maybe we'll get to one day. But the one most people like me talking about, because it's real fun, is the science of Netflix. My colleague and I would go into Netflix and we say, we know that these buckets of psychology are going to be important. And every single thing that we do is going to build off these ideas, right? So we're going to bring in tons of creativity, but we are going to start at the edge of human knowledge, which is all the science that has been done with that. And your creativity, your intuitions, the situational differences about it are going to be accounted for, but when you start in this foundation, it's amazing. And so what happens is we come into these places, and if we don't just know this idea, right? So the good scientist knows a series of sub-concepts, sub-principles. And within each one, we know sub-principles of those. And then if you're a good applied scientist, you know 10 examples of how a business has done this well, not done this well, accidentally stumbled across it in a good or bad way. And then when you can come in, it's actually just very easy to design for a company or start with some really, really strong hypotheses. So you walk into Netflix and you say, hey, we think about the fact that when people are choosing on Netflix platform, people are not familiar with most of the content because now all your content is original, unlike 10 years ago when it's just a bunch of movies people are familiar with. There's not a lot of contrast between your content. Your description for a funny, child-friendly sci-fi show doesn't look much different than your description for Black Mirror. Go on the Netflix app platform, the description of Black Mirror is much more specific than it used to be. Another thing, we walked in and said, hey, trending section is always The Office. And it just doesn't work so well. So you need to create contrast, create a new section, maybe 1 to top 10 shows on Netflix, and that happens, right? And so when you have this knowledge, you can walk in and you can have those hypotheses immediately on what to do. You can ideate a little bit forward.